What's up, everybody? It's Cave Sessions here, Tuesday, January 21st. We have special guest, Josh Caray. Going to talk about Trash Pandas, what they got going on. We're so excited, as all of Huntsville and Madison is. Stick around.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Cave Sessions. It's Trash Panda Day here. We got Josh Caray, Broadcasting Legacy, in the house. Thank you so much for coming out and hanging out with us. My buddy Mike Laws over there. What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in.
Brian Carpenter. Josh Caray, wave to everybody. Say hello.
Hi everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. Facebook world.
Right on. Right on. So, yeah, man. So, those of you that may not be baseball fans, look up Harry Caray. That's your grandfather, right?
Correct.
And your father is Skip Caray?
Skip, longtime broadcaster of the Braves. Yep.
Right on. Right on.
And my half-brother is currently the broadcaster for the Braves, TV broadcaster. So, Chip. Yeah.
Chip.
Nice.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome.
Nice,
So you just have
very
one
nice.
brother?
One brother, two sisters, and he's the only other one who's in broadcasting. At least for now, he's got sons. So, look out. They're both at UGA, in fact, University of Georgia, which has a good journalism program. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
SEC.
That's cool.
SEC,
They
yeah.
got a DJ booth for the football team too, don't they? I've heard that somewhere.
You know, I hate to say this. I'm a Georgia Tech fan, so I haven't been to a Georgia game in forever.
I'm an Alabama fan, so we're good with that.
Oh, good. Good. It's funny because, when I moved here, people asked me, they naturally ask, Auburn or Alabama? I said, I'm like Switzerland. I'm Georgia Tech. So I don't care.
That's
No,
good.
man.
By the way, good job on your guys. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
LSU Go Tigers, man. Probably the best team we'll ever see in my lifetime.
Yeah, unbeatable.
Possibly, yes.
Yeah, there's nothing you
Coach
can do
O's
with
a
them.
great
Very
coach
good.
too.
Yeah.
I love listening to him
Appreciate
talk.
that.
I could listen to him talk all day long. Go Dagger. Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking, you were just mentioning you grew up in Atlanta, moved off, and come back. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your history?
Sure. So I was born and raised in Atlanta, where my dad was doing games for the Atlanta Braves, and I was lucky because that was a very special time for the Braves in their history. They won 14 consecutive division titles from 91 to 2005. They won a World Series in 95. They won, I think, 4 league titles in addition to all that. So I got to grow up during a very special time with Maddox, Glavine, and Smoltz.
Yes.
And, my dad was, of course, on TBS calling the games nationally on a night-to-night basis. And so I kind of had the sports broadcasting, or at least the sports bug, already in me. But, I got to college and I started thinking, maybe I want to do something different because the legacy is so large.
Right.
But
Big shoes and all.
big shoes, yeah. And so for a couple of years, I worked in marketing, didn't really like it. And then I got an opportunity to call games for the Rome Braves, which are the single A affiliate for Atlanta, a level below where the Trash Pandas will be.
Right.
But I went out to Rome, did my first season and loved every minute of it. And I said, I got to keep doing this
It
because
was in your blood.
well, it was in my blood, but it was just so much fun. And, if you're going to work every day and you're having fun, it's not work. So
Exactly.
it started from there. And, like any other broadcaster, you got to bounce around a little bit. You got to be flexible. Your jobs are going to come and go, unfortunately. And I was actually working in news for a few years from 2012 to 2015. Hated every second of it. It was miserable. And then I got an opportunity to go to Long Island, New York, where I got to be the voice for Stony Brook University. I was their football and basketball broadcaster. I was like, trust me, not as good, but I was their Eli Gold. And so I was up there for 4 years, got to call an NCAA tournament basketball game, which was awesome, against Kentucky.
Wow.
Football team had a couple of playoff appearances at the FCS level. And but I always wanted to get back to the South. And so when this opportunity came up, I reached out to Ralph Nelson, our CEO and owner. And, it's funny. He was an assistant GM with the San Francisco Giants when my dad was with the Braves. And so they actually knew each other a little bit. And so when I reached out to him, he picked up on the name instantly. One thing led to another, and boom, here I am.
Man, that is an awesome story.
Yeah.
I was wondering how you got back there, if they reached out to you. So you kind of reached out to them saying, hey, I want to be back in the South.
Well, it's funny. When I when I was looking, this was last April, April of 2019. I had just finished my basketball season with Stony Brook and really wasn't sure, if I wanted to stay or try and move on. And I knew about this new team moving to Alabama called the Trash Pandas that was getting all of this recognition and accolades and things like that. And so I said, I'm going to shoot this email off. And I remember it was on April the 1st. Oh, nice. And I thought, oh, my goodness, he's going to think I'm some nut job pulling an April Fool's joke on him. But, I typed out to Ralph explaining who I was and what my background was. And I sent it to him. And I couldn't believe his email was even online because as an owner, usually it's something else. But I did think it would go to, maybe his secretary. Yeah, and it would wind up in the trash bin or something like that. But I sent it off thinking, hoping, but realistically thinking I wouldn't get a response. Within an hour, he got back to me. Wow. And I offered to come down there in May for Mother's Day. I was going to visit my mom and make my way out to Huntsville and meet him and meet the folks who were on the team at the time. And he didn't even get to that point. He called me about mid-April, about a couple weeks after I first made contact, and he just flat out said, I think you're perfect for this job. And he gave me an opportunity right then and there. They introduced me about a month later when I made my way down and had to finish up some things in New York, got here in October. And since then, we've been hitting the ground running out there on the sales front, public speaking, things like that, just getting ready for next season.
You guys really are the buzz, I think. Brian is the one that actually realized the buzz happening and said, man, we need to do a show with these guys. Let Huntsville know if they don't know. Most of them know.
It's pretty special. It's pretty special what's happening with this team, right?
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of buzz out there about the Trash Pandas all over the country, right?
Yeah, I mean,
well,
let's get into the sales.
Sure.
Pretty impressive.
Well, yeah, the merchandise sales, we've already surpassed $2 million. And we've done that without throwing a pitch. We've done that without a stadium. And when you have something unique like Trash Pandas, I think people just naturally are going to gravitate to that. We've had a lot of people outside of the Southeast who've reached out for merchandise. They make online orders. And I think it's just because the name is so different and so unique that they immediately fall in love with it. They may not necessarily be fans of the team, but they just love having this, this unique little character shooting through the trash can or on their cap or on a polo or a jacket, whatever the case may be.
Whoever the designer is on the logos and the merch and stuff, it's very well done.
Yeah.
Great job.
Well, and what's great about it is we have 6 different logos, believe it or not. You've got one on your hat right now. This is the main logo right here. But what's great about it is you can put one logo each on hats, on shirts, on tank tops, on sweaters, on anything like that, and suddenly you have 6 different ones. Suddenly you're going to have swag all over the place, and it just has different. It's a different taste for everybody, and so they are able to wheel it in.
I agree. I was thinking that when I saw that at first, I was like, well, you want an identifiable one, but really, the Trash Panda is so identifiable already.
Right.
You can have these 6 ones, and it's all there, and now people buy multiple, but also I can get the one I like. You know, it's not just set in. It's awesome.
The Trash Pandas is a AA affiliate for the Los Angeles Angels.
Correct. Okay. Which is unique, which is interesting because obviously the Huntsville Stars were here forever. They were an affiliate of the Oakland Athletics, so we've got kind of a American League West vibe going here with minor league baseball. But the Angels, they're making some strides. They just added Joe Madden as their manager this season. Anthony Rendon came over from the Washington Nationals. Billy Upler is their GM. He's doing a fantastic job. And I think there still might be a year or 2 away from competing, but I think they have a chance to be pretty good because that farm system has been revamped and they've got some talent coming through here in the near future.
Nice.
Very nice.
Now, do you have, when you're actually broadcasting, is there an assistant? Is there like a stats guy that helps you or anything like that? Or is it all up here?
Well, it's not all up here, believe me. There's not a lot going on up there. No, but I have stat packs and things like that and game notes and things of that nature. am looking for someone to help out with the broadcast, so to give my vocal cords a rest. But, I'm working my way through that. But when it comes to just game prep, if you do it enough, you develop a rhythm, and you know what you need to do to kind of get through a game, whether it's well played, not well played, short game, long game, whatever. If you do it enough, you kind of get a feel of how to get through each contest, and you refer to the notes whenever you need anything.
Are you going to do the seventh inning stretch like your grandpa used to?
Yeah, that's the plan. We got it sponsored, so
all right,
we got to do that. But yeah, I'm going to do it. Obviously, I'm not going to do it just like him because there's only one Harry.
Right, exactly.
Shameless sponsorship plug.
Exactly.
Go ahead. Who's the sponsor?
Well, you know what? I'm not going to name it just yet. We're going to keep that
surprise.
under. Yeah, we're going to keep it. We're going to keep that under wraps for now. But we're going to have it out there, and it's going to add a little bit of spice to our seventh inning.
I like it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's awesome. And it's still got a little surprise, something to look forward to. So
yeah.
Surprise.
I mean, watching baseball on TV is one thing, but there's nothing like going to a game. And all the people in Huntsville we've missed that with the Stars. Nobody wanted them to leave. Going and seeing the fireworks there, and just it's just a great thing. I used to take my kid to, so I'm excited. He's 15 now. I'm excited baseball's coming back to the area. I'm pretty stoked. Well,
I know a lot of people were disappointed when the Stars left, but I think it was one of those deals where it had to happen in order for things to get better. Joe Davis was a nice stadium for its time, but I emphasize its time. Back then, minor league baseball was a very different animal, and it was simply a stadium with a diamond, play the game. You might throw a few fireworks if you draw. He's hungry to win. He's a competitor.
Talk about your manager. Do you think we're going to get a lot of quality players that we can keep, or are the quality ones always going to get that shot? I mean, that's kind of what they're going for, right?
Yeah, like I tell people all the time, Huntsville is a great city, or North Alabama is a great area, but let's be honest, these kids want to get out of here as soon as possible. They get in, they play their games. Yeah. They hope to move up to AAA, which is Salt Lake City, Utah. And then from there, ultimately, they want to make the Major League Ball.
And that's it. Nothing about city. It's what athlete doesn't want to play pro, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, probably everybody in the organization. I mean,
that's the whole idea.
You, right?
Yeah. I mean, they don't, trust me, the Angels aren't sitting there at home thinking, how are we going to win a Southern League title? They're thinking about how do we win a world title? And so if there's a guy down here who's hitting, 340 and, 20 homers and 80 RBI or something like that, you got to bump them on up there.
Right.
So, and that's the whole purpose of it. I mean, everyone is feeding into the major league system. So it's about the Angels, and everyone else just kind of circles around them.
Man, there's a lot of stories I've heard over the years about when Canseco and McGuire were here. It was a lot of fun for the city before they got pulled up.
And what's cool about that is they were so good here. And then 2-3 years later, they're playing in the World Series. And what's neat about that is if you are a baseball fan, you're sitting at home watching the World Series and you're saying, God, I saw him win. I saw him win.
Right. In my hometown at the small stadium.
Exactly. I got his autograph here on the, autograph day or whatever it was. So, that's the type of thing that minor league baseball has that I don't know any other sport can match, because it's a much more intimate feel. And the guys, when they get here, they're all still young. They're wide-eyed. They're bushy-tailed. They're not really jaded by, the fame yet. So, it's a lot easier to really attach to them or get to know them than they would be at the major league level, where things are, frankly, a little more cutthroat.
Right. I got you. So before we go much further, for all the baseball history guys out there and fans, tell us a little bit about your grandpa and your dad, man.
Sure. So my grandfather, of course, the late Harry Caray, 53 years. He was a Major League Baseball broadcaster. 25 with the Cardinals, 1 with the A's, 11 with the White Sox, and then the final 16 with the Cubs. And the Cubs was where he became well known. Because of WGN and the Superstation and the afternoon games and the seventh inning stretch and the thick glasses and Will Ferrell and all that stuff. So that's he was inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame in '89. And then, of course, like I mentioned, my dad was with the Braves for over 30 years. He was behind the mic when Francisco Cabrera had the big 2-run single against Pittsburgh in '92. He was behind the mic when Marquise Grissom made that final catch to end the '95 World Series. And he was inducted into the Braves Hall of Fame in 2000. So he was part of the soundtrack. He, along with Pete Van Wieren and Ernie Johnson, they were part of the soundtrack for a lot of little kids growing up in the Southeast at that time. And really across the country as well. And so, that's the background. It's a unique. unique.
Yeah. Do you got a really cool memory with your grandpa and your dad?
Question I don't know,
around baseball or something?
Yeah,
like
Well, you know,
the three of y'all.
Well, it wasn't really around baseball, but it was after a game one night, and the Cubs had come to Atlanta to play the Braves, and so after the game, it's me, Dad, Grandpa, and like 3 or 4 sports writers, and we decided to go to a pretty high-end restaurant and in Buckhead, and so we go there. And everyone's sitting down. I'm 9 or 10 at the time, I guess.
Right.
And they start talking shop. And like any 9 or 10-year-old, you get bored. You know, you start to tune out. And I wasn't the most talented kid in the world. I was really just kind of a chubby, fat kid. But one thing I could do really well is I could take the serving end of a spoon and just balance it on my nose and just let it hang there.
Right.
And so I got bored and I said, I'll put it on there and just let it hang. And by this time, my grandfather had about 3 or 4 Budweisers in him. And he looks over and says, "Hi, look at that kid. Does he have a hook on there?" And so he takes his own spoon. And 5-star Atlanta restaurant, Buckhead, right? He takes the serving in and he puts it on his nose, and he's got a small nose and he's fumbling it and he can't, get it to stay there. And I remember my dad looking around the restaurant as this is going on, terrified, because here's Harry Caray, his dad, trying to balance a spoon on his nose. And what my dad told me is, as he looked around the restaurant, people are looking at my grandfather, they know who he is. And they start doing this, pinching themselves because they thought they were dreaming. And, and so that was probably my favorite memory amongst the two. Just the look on my dad's face, like, Dad, what are you doing? Stop.
And it's funny because he paid attention to what you were doing.
Yeah. Well,
and then. Yeah.
Well, what was cool about it with Grandpa was it wasn't Grandpa, Harry Caray, voice of the Cubs, whatever. It was just Grandpa. And, for me, I didn't have a lot of those moments because he was so big. He was so much larger than life. In Chicago, we couldn't walk more than 2 steps without an autograph request or a picture request or things like that.
Right.
So it was one of those few moments where he was just Grandpa. And that was cool.
That's
awesome.
That has to be unique growing up
awesome.
with somebody like that as your grandfather. Like you said, to you he's just grandpa, but to everybody else, and you see that special moment where he really was just grandpa for you. That's a very cool story.
But, and the older you get, you learn to appreciate what it was they were doing. Not just dad, but not just grandpa, but dad as well. I mean, I tell people I would get off school at, 3 o'clock. By then the Cubs are on playing their afternoon game. There's my grandfather on WGN. Then I go to, band or, baseball practice or whatever, have dinner, do homework, flip on the TV on TBS, and there's my dad on national TV. I mean, that's it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
And you don't appreciate it when you're 10, but when you're 38, you look back and you say, wow, that's pretty neat.
Something special.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So who's your favorite impression of your grandfather? I know there's a lot out there.
Well, yeah, I know a lot of people would expect me to say Will Ferrell, and he's pretty good. But my favorite is a guy named John Campanera, who is a local comedian in Chicago. And he does this one spiel where, God is calling a baseball game, and God's voice is my grandfather's. And Campanera is a Chicagoan, so he gets the whole Harry Caray, on how big that is and to that part of the world. And I personally, that's my favorite because it's so original, and it's also clean, which I appreciate. It's not, gross humor. So you always appreciate that type of thing. It's done, but it's done out of fondness, and it's they say imitation's the sincerest form of flattery, and he really does a nice job of that.
Oh,
so
nice! I'm gonna have to check that out.
More classy.
Yeah.
Just for anybody that wants to Google that, John Caponera's Caponera.
Yeah.
Caponera. If you want to Google that, check it out, because I know I will be after the show.
Go for it.
So getting into the things that's going on with the Trash Pandas, this Saturday is a job fair?
Yeah, Saturday we're going to have the job fair from 10 to 1 at James Clemens High School. We'll have it in their cafeteria. We would like to have it at the stadium, but we're just not there yet. So they'll be at the cafeteria. And this is going to be for a lot of the game day types. This will be for ushers, concessionaires, ticket takers, the parking lot attendants. We're going to have media positions available for like camera people, things like that. So I'm not quite sure how many spots we're looking to fill, but it's going to be quite a few. We're expecting about 700 attendees, so it's going to be quite an event. Wow. So if you're looking for a nice little summertime job, just some side cash to make, come on out. We'd love to have you, and I know everyone's trying to be a part of this, so it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Absolutely.
Do you know the location around that, guys? The John Clemens?
James Clemens is off County Line. When you get to Sonic
That's
there,
right.
You make a left. It's right back behind Sonic there.
Yeah, it's a pretty big school. It's the newest school in Madison. For those who don't know, you got Bob Jones, and then you got James Clemens. But yeah, just take 565, hang a right on County Line, and go about, I guess, a couple miles. It'll be on your left.
Yep. So there you go.
Awesome.
So job fair. So man, that awesome opportunity to not only earn some extra money, support what you're doing, and wow, I didn't. You don't think about that. All the positions you guys fill,
sure.
And how you're helping stimulate not only something for us to watch. What a lot of jobs, bartenders.
Bartenders will be another one. Yeah, we'll have waiters and things like that, and you never know what happens. It's funny. We had a kid who just started with us full time, but he was a part-time register in our team store, and he had such an engaging personality, and he was so wonderful with the customers. Ralph looked at him and said, shoot, we need to hire this guy to our sales team, because just the way he his charisma, but just the way he behaved, and he's such a nice kid. Ralph said, we got to give this guy, this is the type of person I want on my team. And you never know what's going to happen. If you show up, you have a good attitude, you do what you're supposed to do, and you do the best you can, you never know what'll happen. We can't promise anything, of course, but obviously that is the greatest example of
send that email, put your name in the hat, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
you got to get. And one thing I've learned about Ralph, boy, when he likes something, he goes right after it. He's very aggressive.
For those who don't know Ralph, who is Ralph?
Sure, Ralph Nelson. He's our CEO. He's also part owner of the ball club. It's interesting. Well, after he was with the Giants, he left in the early '90s. He went to the Arizona Diamondbacks and built them from the ground up. He was there. He left right before they won the World Series. He wound up moving to New York, where he became the director of umpires. So
good job, but you could almost say he helped build that team to
exactly.
that level, right?
Oh yeah, he was one of the early architects for the Diamondbacks, but he became the director of umpire. He worked with Sandy Alderson and Rob Manfred and all those big heavy hitters in Major League Baseball. Did that for about 5 years. Then I just got burned out, decided to get out of baseball for a while. He and his wife, Lisa, who's also a part owner in our team, they wound up moving to Vermont, and they were going to retire there, St. Johnsbury. And Ralph said, I really want to do this. And he had always thought about owning a minor league team. And so at 60 years old, Ralph Nelson, where he could have just sat on his rear end and just lived out his years, at 60 years old, he got out a pen, got out a notepad, started making calls, and basically he went back to school. He learned how to become an owner by talking to people and making those connections and starting those relationships again. And it's a great story because it goes to show you're never too old to keep learning. And,
right.
He had the guts to go back and humble enough to, be told how to do certain things. And here we are 5 years later, and we got a team about to start up.
Do you have any, do you know what landed him on Huntsville?
I know he looked at a couple of other markets. I know Baton Rouge was actually one of them, but I know here, you know what? First off, anyone who knows anything about college baseball, LSU is one of the best in the country year after year.
What a program going there. I love it.
The problem, though, is that's why a minor league team would never succeed there, because LSU just owns the city.
Overshadow them.
Yeah.
Great point.
They don't, LSU, they when they get to the College World Series, that's late June. That's about halfway through the minor league season. Yes. So you're not really doing yourselves any favors, and the weather is a little brutal. Right. So, so I know he looked at Baton Rouge. He looked at a couple of other places, but they just weren't the right fit. But North Alabama was just easily the way to go, because the hunger for baseball was there. The team had just left. There wasn't really anything holding back a minor league baseball team from moving in. So it just made a lot of sense.
Just a new facility, really.
New facility.
Is really what needed to happen.
Well, and you also need a lot of backing, and he got a lot of backing from Madison, and then Mayor Paul Finley, Tommy Battle. Tommy was a big help, the mayor of Huntsville, and he didn't have to either because
great guy.
Yeah,
Tommy.
Because I'm sure he wanted to have the team in Huntsville, but when Ralph announced that they were going to go to Madison, Tommy was right behind him because he understands what a driver this is economically and what it can also do for recruiting purposes.
Yeah, he's driving music being a big part of the city too. Since Tommy Battle has become our mayor, there's nothing but good things been happening, and the city's been growing, and it's
amazing.
That guy's great. We love you, Tommy Battle.
And we hope you go for governor and go all the way.
All right.
Being Louisiana is my home state, but I've been here since elementary school. Huntsville is my hometown.
Gotcha.
And so glad you and the Trash Pandas decided to land here. We're super excited.
Oh, we appreciate it. By the way, Ralph's wife, Lisa, she went to LSU, so she's a happy lady as well after the national championship.
Yes.
So,
yeah, Lisa, go Tigers.
Coach Joe, Roll Tide.
and he's, even though he's from Atlanta, we mentioned this real quick, not a Georgia fan, but a
Georgia Tech fan.
That's right. I like that.
Wreck 'em after a 3-9 season.
That's right. Hey,
They'll turn that around.
They'll turn that around.
I like Jeff Collins. He's good.
So your first game is April 9th?
April 9th will be the first game. It'll be in Birmingham, though, so it'll be a road game. Not too far away, though, if anyone wants to come on down.
I think I'll go 2 hours away to Birmingham.
Yeah.
Barons were
Michael Jordan's old team, right?
That's right.
Michael Jordan's old team.
My boss for the company lives in Dallas. When he pitched for the Stars, he pitched to Michael Jordan, which is pretty cool.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
That's cool.
Curtis Shaw.
All right.
Did he strike him out?
stats?
We'll have to look
Yeah,
that up.
actually, did he K him?
I would have to look.
We got to ask him.
Yep.
Yeah.
I should have
wanna
set
know.
him up for a phone call.
Because how many people get to say I struck out Michael Jordan?
Well, that, and when you look at those old YouTube videos and what he did on the basketball court, they say, yeah, I struck you out.
Yeah,
Exactly.
the greatest of all time.
So there. But yeah, that'll be our first game, and then our first home game will be 6 days later, April 15th. So after you cry over your taxes, you can, wash away those tears at the ballpark. We'll have our home opener against the Mississippi Braves, Atlanta Braves affiliate, and it'll be a 6:35 start, and it's going to be just a night to remember because I know this community's been looking forward to minor league baseball for a long time, and it'll finally be here.
Yes.
I'm going to be here.
So excited.
Speaking
At
of
Toyota Field.
Toyota Field,
Toyota Field.
That's the naming sponsor.
So speaking of time frame of games, is there a general night game thing, Fridays, day games, Saturdays, anything like that, and promotions that you do on those days?
Well, Monday through Friday, most of our games, not all, but most will begin at 6:35. We have a couple of noon starts sprinkled in there, but most of the games will begin at 6:35. Our Saturday games will begin at 6, and then Sundays will start at 2 in April and May, and I think we have one Sunday game in June. Those will all start at 2:05. And then from that point through the rest of the season, Sunday games will be at 5:05. So we'll have some variety throughout all that. But of course, like anyone else, we're trying to beat the heat as well.
Beat the heat.
But we're also
people get off work and can come see the games. So majority night games, but some good day games to hit too.
And some good day games. And also we want to start the games early enough so that when the game's over, people can get home at a reasonable hour.
Right.
So that's...
Any double headers lined up? Just curious.
No, we don't.
Single games.
Yeah, it's all single games.
That's
the scheduled double headers used to be a thing, but
it's hard to keep them there all day. It's already a good experience. And speaking of the experience, you guys aren't just doing baseball there. You were telling us about some other things that were really cool.
Sure, we're going to have promotions throughout the season. We're going to have Firework Fridays, which are going to be a big deal. In fact, any sponsors who are looking in who want to do something with those Firework Fridays, we're going to be giving out T-shirts during those ball games, and you can get your logo on the back of those. And of course, the fireworks are always a big draw. Saturdays are usually going to be a specialty type of thing, but that'll be those will be good nights for like your 80s night or your 70s night. We plan on having a couple of concerts on Saturdays as well. Mondays, it's going to be our Mutt Monday, where we you can bring your dog to the ballpark. It's basically
It's awesome.
Bark in the Park. Sunday will be our military day. So that's where we'll honor a lot of our VAs and military groups and things like that. So we'll have just stuff like that throughout the entire season. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I think we have an SEC night and NASCAR night. So the great part about minor league baseball is you can do themes to Kingdom Come, and there's always something for everybody.
Sounds like you guys are making it fun and interesting. I mean,
On the firework thing too, you're on the 4th of July. You're going to be y'all going to be on the road.
Correct.
So there is going to be a fireworks on Friday night at the Trash Pandas on July the 3rd.
On July 3rd. I'm not sure who we're playing, but it will be a Friday night. And that's great because I know a lot of people will see fireworks on Saturday evening. So this gives you a little appetizer. It'll be bigger than the other Friday night shows just because it's Independence Day.
Absolutely.
But that'll be a big one to go to. We're expecting a huge crowd for that one.
Yep. So fireworks show, you can double up this year if you're in Huntsville, Madison. Fireworks show on Friday and Saturday.
And also because this past year we got rained out. Nobody really got the fireworks. So go Friday, April the 3rd, because you never know, it might rain Saturday.
Exactly.
You might get disappointed.
It's a good point, Mike Love.
Yes, it was disappointing this past year. So that was good to know. The stadium, by the way. Do you have an idea of the layout, the setup? Because I know you were mentioning even having some concerts, things like that.
Yeah. Well, we hope to do that. I know that's something we're all thinking about, but we also want to do some things after the season as well. That's where we want to try to work in maybe some festivals and things like that, because the thing to understand about this ballpark is it's a baseball stadium, yes, but it's also a venue. And so it's kind of like when you go to Von Braun, right? I mean, they do hockey and they do basketball, but they also have concerts there and other things like that. So to be able to bring things like that during the off season, one, it's a revenue generator for us, but it continues to remind people that this is a place to go, not just during the summer, but throughout the entire year as well. Hopefully we'll have a little more popping up along town Madison, the bars, the restaurants, the retail outlets, the high rises, things like that. So we want this to be a year-round attraction, not just spring and summer.
Right, and being a musician personally, I can say it would be very cool to play in the Trash Panda Stadium, right?
Right, yeah. And you also said you don't have a date on it yet, so everybody look at social media. But to all our musician friends out there that are watching, fairly soon you guys are going to be auditioning for people to sing the national anthem. Yeah,
we're not quite sure what date exactly that will be, but we are going to do some auditions because obviously 70 home games, that's a lot to fill. So we certainly want to get as many people out there a chance to sing, and obviously we'll be judging folks as well and just determining who would be a good fit for that type of role. And obviously if you can do more than one date, that's outstanding. It makes our job a little easier, quite frankly. But we want singers, and I'll be very honest, I've been in some minor league ballparks where folks get out there to sing, and it's not a pretty sight. So please, and look, we're in a big military town as well. So
it's very important to us. And I will let you know, the musicians here, quality. I'm sure you're going to find some amazing singers to do it.
Well, that's great, because that's going to be a big deal. We don't want it to be just some cute little thing. We want it to be taken seriously, and we come on out. We want you.
So don't be shy.
Exactly.
Singing the national anthem is no joke. I've heard people talk about it. It's not an easy song.
And how many times have you seen on a big game a huge artist actually freeze up, forget a line? A lot of pressure. Not only are you doing the big crowd, this is something that means a lot to the people under the country.
Well, I know Christina Aguilera, who I think is a fabulous singer. She, I think she was at the Super Bowl one year. She, fumbled the line, and it wasn't anything intentional. But, if she's going to make a mistake, can you imagine how hard that is for, Joe Schmo trying to do it? So,
right, absolutely.
You better have some confidence if you're going to go out there and do it. All right.
But at the same time, don't be shy.
Yeah.
Audition.
And the stadium too. You said earlier when we were talking before the show, You're going to have some local high school and college events, but leading up to the opening.
Sure. Well, we need practice as well as Trash Pandas employees. So we're going to have some high school games. I don't know the teams quite yet or the dates. I do know we're going to have UAH for a weekend series. I can't remember who they play, but it'll be March 20th and 21st. So that'll be a great trial run for us. And I know it'll be a thrill for those guys as well.
How about being a high school kid and getting to play in the stadium before the team even does?
Yeah.
That is pretty special.
Very cool.
But, that's a pretty common thing. It's a great way for us to prepare. But what we also want to showcase is that, hey, we can do baseball tournaments. We can do, and I don't know what Ralph's plans are, but obviously college baseball is a big deal down here. Maybe if you do a good job with this type of stuff, that can lead to some other opportunities down the line with bigger name schools. So you never know, but you got to start somewhere, and that's how you get a start, is doing some of those high school and small college games to get your feet wet.
So right now I got some pictures of the stadium actually up that you sent me, and where are we at with that? Was it with it being completed and all that? Right.
Well, assuming good night if it would stop raining.
Right.
We hope to have the actual stadium finished by the end of the month. Right now it's January 21. So hopefully in the next 10 days, and then the inspectors, they got to go in, do their thing, and our folks will, touch it up, make sure it's good to go. And we hope to move in as an organization on March 1st. So it's going to be here before you know it. It'll be great for us because right now we're operating out of 2 different offices on Madison Boulevard. So
gotcha.
It'll be great once that's done and set to go. But we're getting close. It's strange. I think a lot of people don't realize that because they see all the dirt around there.
Right.
But believe me, the inside of the stadium is looking outstanding, and the construction folks have been fantastic. We're actually going to have a night to honor them for all their hard work the last couple of years. So
nice.
We're almost there. We're almost there.
Right
Most
around the
Alabama
corner.
folks, we can look at all that and say, okay, it's just construction, but the final product's going to be there.
Well, I'll tell you what, living up in the Northeast the last 4 years, something like this would have taken at least 5 years to build because there's just so much red tape and things like that.
Yeah.
Here, they got on it, and they could have had this built in time for last season if they had wanted to.
Wow.
But Ralph said, no, look, let's make sure we do this right. And so he went ahead, and the team last year was in Mobile. They didn't draw anyone because everyone knew they were leaving, so he took a loss on that. But it was worth it because he knew what he was going to get in return the following year.
Right.
Everything I've seen from the merchandise, everything just looks like it's being done so good.
Well, Ralph flat out said, we may be AA in terms of what level our team's playing at, but we're going to be Major League in operation and Major League in execution.
That's right. And you got a good manager, too. Did we mention your manager?
A little bit, but I'll give you his name. It's Jay Bell, and Jay was a big leaguer for 18 seasons, played for several teams, most notably the Pirates and Diamondbacks. If it sounds familiar, he was the shortstop for the Pirates in '92 when Cabrera had that big hit. In fact, if you look at the replay, you can see him ranging to his right, trying to knock it down with a backhand, but he was on that team. And then 9 years later, he was with the Diamondbacks when they won the World Series. In Game 7, they beat Mariano Rivera. And it was Jay who came in to score the game-winning run to end the series.
So hold on, he won the Diamondbacks, and the owner was at the Diamondbacks before they won, correct?
Right.
What a tie of the owner management. Is that why he hired him?
Yeah, he doesn't hire him. It's the Angels who decide where he goes. But this is what makes the Angels such a great organization is that Ralph went up to them and said, "Look, this is what I'm looking for in a manager, and this is." This is how we're doing things. We don't want just a typical minor league manager. We want a minor league manager who's got some oomph behind him and some push and some notoriety. And I'll tell you what, the Angels cut us a solid because Jay Bell was like I said, big leaguer for 18 seasons. And we talk about major league execution, major league behavior within our organization. Jay just typifies that. And the Angels really did a favor for us by making him our manager. He's a perfect fit. Great guy, and Ralph actually signed him to the Diamondbacks back in the late '90s. So there's a personal relationship.
Yeah. That's
All
awesome.
the stars align.
And that's part
Again.
of us. Yes, that's part of us. Part of us.
So do we have players on the team yet? Is that coming?
We're not going to know until probably a week before the season starts. That's just the way it works. And I think I need to make this. I know I've had a lot of fans ask me about that. It's not like Major League Baseball where, and I'll use the Braves as an example. You know that Freddie Freeman is going to come back every single season because he's under contract. He's a really good player. Chipper Jones, same thing.
Right.
That's how it happens at the major league level. You know certain guys are returning. Minor league level, when guys report to spring training, it's really a tryout for everybody. Right. And they go, obviously there's some top end prospects who are going to play. We know that. But as they go throughout spring training, the coaches are looking at these players and saying, okay, that guy is slated for A ball. This guy is slated for AAA. This guy's going to go to the rookie camp. This guy is going to go AA, because they look at the talent and they see where guys are in their development and they say, okay, this guy is a good fit here. And so that's how it goes. And you don't really know your roster until about a week out. And it's a bit of a scramble.
Right. Can you explain that to the people that don't know how the levels work up going?
So the lowest level there is rookie league, and usually what happens is, and it's usually for the high school kids because they're so young, they get drafted and they'll go to the spring training facility, which for the Angels is in Scottsdale, if I'm not mistaken. They go out, Scottsdale, Arizona. They go out there and they'll play in games, but really it's about learning how to be a big leaguer. The next step up from that is what they call advanced rookie, which for the Angels is in Orem, Utah. And so they'll play about a 70-game schedule there. Again, learning, maturing. Right. The next step up from that is your first full season affiliate, which is in Burlington, Iowa. Then after that, you move to Inland Empire, which is in California. That's actually the affiliate that's closest to the Angels. And then after that, really anything A-ball on down is really about development. Once you get to AA, the development still exists, but that's where you start to separate the men from the boys a little bit. That's where it's
should be developed by now.
Yeah,
and who's going to step it up?
Yeah, who's going to step up? Who really has it? Once you get to AA, you realize you're a prospect at this point, and that's where you start to see guys really come into their own. And it's not uncommon at all to see a guy start a season at AA and finish it in the majors. Once they leave AA, they'll go to AAA Salt Lake City. And AAA, believe it or not, I think AA is a better level of baseball than AAA because at AAA, you have a lot of guys who are just kind of hanging on to their careers. You have a lot of guys who are in their early to mid 30s who've already been in the majors, but they weren't able to make a major league roster, so they got bumped down to AAA. A lot of them, frankly, aren't very happy to be there. And a lot of the guys at AA, they're in their early 20s. They're growing. They're excited. They're pumped up. They're on the up, while a lot of guys at AAA are kind of on the way down.
Oh, it's a weird crossroads there.
Yeah, and so AA, really, I think it's a better league athletically. AAA, you have a lot of guys who can play Major League Baseball today, but the spots just aren't there, and the clock is ticking. So that's usually how it works. And a reason why a lot of those journeymen kind of get knocked down to AAA is because major league organizations have a lot of respect for guys who made it to the majors because it's so hard to do. So if you've made it to the majors and you've proven your worth and you've been around the block and you've earned your keep, but you weren't good enough to make the major league level, well, we'll move you to AAA where you can still fly on planes. You still get some sort of luxury out of playing at that level of baseball, whereas AA is more still a bus league and you're driving all over the place, long nights and things like that. So it's also a bit of a pat on the back, even though you're not at the major league level.
Right, and that's super cool to learn from you because even if you're a fan and you know all that, the insight of why things happen that way, I never thought about that. You're AA, such energy of these guys coming up trying to prove themselves.
Right.
AAA, now you got the energy mix with the guys coming down. That's an interesting perspective.
Yeah.
And then who's going to stay pro? Because that's the ultimate goal. We all know.
Well, yeah, and you'll be amazed, guys at especially at AAA. What they'll do is they'll start checking the box scores every day, and not just for their team, but the teams across the league. And they're thinking, okay, who's struggling? Who could I replace that guy? Could I be traded there? Will this guy be brought down? I mean, they start looking at that stuff because one, you want to play Major League Baseball, but two, the money is so much better.
Oh, God.
That's where you got to go.
That's where you got to go. And as Brian commented earlier, I mean, we got to see McGuire and Canseco here go to the Trash Pandas. You never know who you could be watching. That might go in a World Series in the future, you know.
Well, there's just so much more out there now about prospects, and there's so much more background. There are some guys who will reach the AA level, and you'll look at them and say, oh, yeah, he's going to be pro one day, because there's just so much more knowledge. I'll give you an example. When I was in New York, I did games for a New York Penn League team, which is this. They're technically a little higher up than rookie ball, but not much. But point is, we had a kid named Brendan McKay who signed for $7 million right out of college. He was the 7th overall draft choice by the Rays. And he was one of those guys who, as soon as he signed on the dotted line, you knew he was ticketed for the major leagues, because,
got it.
Well, there's so much invested in him, and then you see him play, and you say, wow, this guy's going to be something special.
No, yeah. Took the words out of my mouth, something special. You just know it when you see it, don't you?
Yeah, and even if the Angels don't have a guy like that at the AA level, the Braves may have someone like that, or the White Sox, or the Rays, or the I'm drawing a blank, the Diamondbacks, or whoever. I mean, there's all those teams are going to come here through Rocket City, and even if the Trash Pandas don't really have a big-time prospect, someone else will, and you can go check them out. If you're a big Braves fan and Mississippi comes to town, you're going to get to see what the Braves have in their farm system.
Right.
Yeah, nice.
Right.
That's awesome.
That's very awesome.
So Team Store, I don't think we went through how well the merchandise has been doing and all that, but the Team Store, you said both locations, you're going to have one, but we're going to keep the Bridge Street location?
Yeah, well, there was some talk about once we're going to have a Team Store at the stadium, and there was going to be talk that once that opened, we would shut down the Bridge Street location, because, you know, you may as well come to the Team Store. But the Bridge Street location has done so well that they're going to keep both of them open, and that's awesome, because it tells you just how excited people are about it. But what it also does now is that you have different options, and I'll be interested to see how the Team Store at the stadium does on non-game days. Will people go out of their way to go down there? Obviously, we'll get a lot of traffic on game day when people go to the stadium and they want to get something.
Right.
But what are we going to get on the Wednesday when the team is out of town? That'll be interesting to see. But it's worth trying, and we'll see how it works out.
Right on.
Bridge Street is such a prime location. And I think always going to be good there.
And the merchandise itself, it's sold so much. And how much?
It's over $2 million, and they did that in, golly, it's been,
I think that was
15. Well, we took a month off for last holidays, not this year, but holidays of 2018. So I think we've done it in about 16 months, I want to say.
Wow.
And just as a comparison, the team that with the second largest output was a team in Connecticut called the Yard Goats, and they did 1.4 over the same amount of time, but the difference was they had a team. They already had a team up and playing.
You did that with
nothing.
No team.
No team.
No stadium.
Right.
No management.
Just a logo.
Just a logo.
So
a
the
logo
number
and a
one
dream.
selling merchandise in minor league baseball, and we haven't even done a pitch yet.
Yeah.
Right?
Scary, isn't it?
That's pretty awesome. And just a shout out to the Trash Panda store. This hat right here.
Yeah.
I had it for about 2 months, and my little button on the top. I've never had a hat do that. My little button on the top came out. Took it in the store. The staff there was great, and they took care of it immediately. Swapped the hat out for me.
Yeah.
So,
Kudos.
We got
good customer service.
We got good kids over there. You know, I'll compare it to one other place. You guys have been to Chick-fil-A, right?
Of course.
Right.
You know how they always say my pleasure when you say thank you and stuff like that? They've got real good kids over there. That's kind of what we have. I won't say we'd say my pleasure or things like that, but we got really good people. And most of them are under the age of 25. They're young guys. A lot of them are, 16, 17 years old. They really are kids, but they're just so good to our people. And that's a big reason of what drives the success of our team is the fact that when you come in there, you need some help. We got people looking out for you. So it's really special. They've done a great job of hiring our staff over there.
And isn't that what matters the most?
Oh,
good character.
It's called customer service for a reason. You serve the customer, right?
That's
Right. Absolutely. So tell us about Sprocket.
Oh yeah.
Sprocket.
So we unveiled Sprocket in November at the Christmas tree lighting at Bridge Street. The folks who designed him also designed a lot of the Disney mascots that you see at like Disney World and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So we got they were based in Los Angeles, and Ralph and Lisa went out there a couple of times, made sure they were doing what they wanted. But that was he was unveiled last Christmas, and he's available for outings and parties and things like that. Obviously, go to our website and you can find more information on where to book him. But because the players come and go, there are very few constants you're going to have with a minor league baseball team, and one of them is your mascot. And so he's awesome. He has two different outfits. There's one where he's got the trash can on, and then there's another where he just walks around in a jersey. But we're going to have several different people playing Sprocket throughout the year who are, they'll interact with the kids, and that's going to be a big part of our community relations push, and also our PR push is that little stuffed animal. So
Stuffed animal. Obviously, Sprocket jerseys available, right? Jersey with Sprocket.
I
Custom print. I kind of want one.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Asking for a friend.
Honestly, I haven't seen anything like that, but that might be a good idea.
I think I might buy your first one.
Okay, well, I'll have to tell Ralph and Lisa about that. Our Sprocket custom-made jersey.
Or even just with Sprocket on the back. I
You
think
can
I
do
might,
that,
because
yeah.
guess what? It's good each season. He's always there.
Yeah.
Hey, not a bad plan.
And we may have a little surprise with Sprocket next season. But
So stay tuned.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Lots of surprises. I like it.
Check out. So we can find you guys on all the social media stuff: Instagram, Facebook,
Instagram,
Twitter.
Facebook, Twitter is at Trash Pandas. By the way, you can find me at Big Papa Panda.
Big Papa Pandas. That's you, huh?
Oh yeah.
They love it when they call him Big Papa.
Well,
Panda.
here's the funny thing about it. I grew up in the 90s.
Me too.
During
the reference.
East Coast, West Coast wars and all that, and Notorious B.I.G. Now, to all the kids listening, don't go listening to that song. All right, there's a lot of less than stellar stuff there, but Notorious B.I.G. The song Big Papa is what put him on the map, and I thought.
It was iconic during our time.
Yeah, I was thinking, what would be a good Twitter handle name? And I thought, what goes well with Panda? Well, Papa. What goes well with Papa? Big. Big Papa Panda. There you go.
I like it, Big Papa Panda.
Yeah.
That's good
Meant
stuff.
to be.
Absolutely. So we're at the end here, and we always ask a question. That is, if there's something we haven't asked you or you haven't covered that you want to share about baseball, about Huntsville, whatever it is, what do you got?
I think the biggest thing I would share is just how grateful I am to be back in the South, because as much as I enjoyed my time on Long Island, you don't realize how special this area of the country is until you leave it. And really the last 2 or 3 years, I had really made a push to try and get back down here. Obviously, my mom still lives in Atlanta, as does my sister, so being close to them was important, but also just being around the people. It's just such a special place to be, and I could not have stepped into a better opportunity. I mean, I really am lucky, and I'm so grateful to Ralph and Lisa for giving me the opportunity, and just to be back. I call it my people. And I know Atlanta's a little different from the rest of the South. I get it, but it's not too different. And so you don't realize just how special it is until you walk by someone on the sidewalk and they say good morning. That doesn't happen everywhere.
Right.
And it's it's just little things like that. And I'll tell you what, another thing.
The wave.
I was at the gas station the other day. You know how when you're at the gas station and you're filling up, you can set the clip and just sit there, or you can go in the gas station while you're filling up.
Right.
New York, they don't do that because they're so worried that people are going to rip them off. They make you stand there in the freezing cold, holding on to that gas lever, and you're miserable. And then to go from that to just setting it, and it's a small thing, but it's one of those things that really sticks out to you. Yeah. So great to be home.
Awesome.
I think
great,
from both of us and the whole set, I think we're grateful to have you and the team as well.
Yeah, thrilled to be here, and hope to be here for many years to come.
Thanks for sharing all the info with us, all the Trash Panda stuff. Thanks for being here. Mike, you got anything else?
No, just Please support the games. Actually, one thing, can you tell us about any ticket promotions people can get to support that?
Oh, yeah. Well, we do have season tickets on sale. I forgot to mention this. We originally put 1,500 season tickets on sale. I believe it was a couple of Novembers ago. We sold out of those in about 4 months. So since then, we put another 500 on sale. We've sold 4 of that 500. So we've already got 1,900 season tickets sold.
Wow.
We've put a mini ticket package on sale as well. It's 23 games. I think we sold about 350 of that. And so, yeah, we're closing in on 2,000 seats already just for season tickets. So we've got that in stock right now. And then we'll put individual game tickets on sale probably late next month, I want to say. So, yeah, we're motoring along. Going to be fun.
It's awesome. And this is definitely something you want to do. So if you're going to do it, you might as well get the multi-game package and save some money.
Sure.
There you go.
Why not? That frees up some money for some merch, right?
Yeah, and just quickly, the mini ticket package, that includes holidays, it includes weekends, all of them do. There are 3 different packages. So there's a little something for everyone in all of those, and it provides some variety. And it doesn't lock you into a 70-game deal, which is not easy for everyone.
And shameless plug, where can we get that at?
Just go to that's Twitter. Go to trashpandasbaseball.com, or you can call us at 256-325-1403. So,
Nice.
and we'll point you in the right direction.
Trashpandasbaseball.com.
Yes,
I
sir.
like it. Unforgettable.
Yeah.
Well, appreciate you. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Cave Sessions. That's a wrap.
Chillin' at Cave Sessions.